Papa told me I couldn't do a lot of things.
I feel like I'm the chosen one.
Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. All we are is proud and passionate. I love Toronto. I love this team. And we're going to the NBA Finals. Let's go!
Nothing matters but winning.
Welcome back to episode 60 of Rapzville Weekly. I'm your co-host Gabriel, here with
Adam Casucci.
And today we have another doubleheader. We just had one against Miami, and now it's the Indiana Pacers. The series was split 1-1, and we got a lot to talk about, specifically on certain players that didn't fulfill expectations like they should have. Before we get into that, as always, please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Rapzville, and leave your comments down below. Let's hear your opinions. Adam?
All right, so before I start, guys, I just want to give a little shout out to the Rob father. He's been a great supporter throughout our time podcasting, and he's a big influence on why we started. So I just wanted to give a little shout out to him. And now moving into the first game. So the Raptors versus Pacers. This is the first game, and it did turn out well. We won 107-102, and we continued to perform well defensively throughout all four quarters. I thought, which is showing their defense has improved with guys like Watanabe, Johnson, and Boucher getting increased minutes. Who all bring their own separate qualities defensively. I thought the standout thing that I wanted to point out this game was the ability for guys like OG, Norm, and Johnson to be able to offensively close out a game. I'm not going to mention Fred here because we expect him, when given the opportunity, to close out games, you know? But damn, I was really impressed with the Pacers throwing zone and double teams at these guys, and they made the right decisions and executed really the plays down the stretch. I want to talk about a little bit Baines here. I thought Baines is really trying to get back into his usual self. Now we're starting to see his inside game come to life a bit, and his defense has been great of late. The issue is now Nurse not giving him minutes that he deserves. I get earlier in the season he was a pylon and was useless, but now you can see his confidence increase and believing in himself more, not turning down open shots, being a presence in the paint that alters shots, you know. So I thought he did a great job, and he wasn't given the minutes by Nurse. Stanley Johnson made his first career start in a Raptors uniform in this game and filled the role, I thought, well defensively, making a huge play at the end to get a game-saving block in the dying seconds. And the Raptors shot 41% from the field and a whopping 43% from three. The Pacers shot 40% from the field and 33% from three. The Raptors did get out-rebounded 47-45 yet again, and just got to collectively be better as a team in boxing out and having that will to really secure the rebound. The Raptors had 16 turnovers, which is understandable when not having Kyle and Pascal in the lineup, really their main ball handlers. But they did force 18 turnovers from the Pacers, which was from their defensive pressure, so I thought that was a bit of a positive for the Raptors. And I thought this game was really an embodiment of how we must play to win games, by leading through the majority of the game and playing at the tempo the team feels most comfortable at. Gabe, a couple questions for you here before I hand it off. Why is Terrence Davis not having success with his time on the floor for the Raptors so far?
Well, it seems that a big problem of his tends to be the turnovers. I know if you guys are listening to the games, Jack Armstrong especially loves to point it out whenever he's on the floor that he's making a lot of mistakes or turning the ball over. And from past games, we know him to be a bit of a foul machine as well. So it seems that he's gotten a little unlucky with the fouls, I would say, but turnovers, I don't know. It's just he's not taking care of the rock. He's making lackluster passes. His offense is always, solid in terms of scoring the ball. He's aggressive to the rack. He can shoot. But it seems like the passing is a problem, and his defense has been an issue before in terms of fouling and letting guys blow by. Nurse is starting to be a little more strict with him. He was the same with Thomas, and now with TD, if he makes a couple mistakes, takes him off and keeps him off. And we saw that this game only ended up playing 3 minutes. So I think that's one thing he has to improve upon, is specifically the turnovers.
Yeah, and my second question would be, do you see Bembry kind of replacing Flynn for that backup point guard role for the Raptors during the stretch this season?
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw Bembry have a bit of minutes, I guess, at the end of each game in this Pacers series. And it's surprising, someone that can't really shoot the three ball traditionally and is been putting in these late game scenarios where he becomes the ball handler, a little bit taller than our average guard, 6'5", and he's been doing decent. I think when he's on that late game, I'm a little like wary of why is he on, but then he ends up producing good plays, driving kicks, tipping rebounds. He ends up making like game-winning plays. So it's possible, honestly, if he could fill up one of those guard roles coming off the bench, especially as of recent, the minutes he's been getting, it's quite possible. All right, so now I'm going to do a breakdown on each of the players here. So to start off, I'm going to talk about Fred VanVleet. He obviously had a solid game, as usual. He had a 11-3-3 at half, and I thought that he was kind of like needed on the floor to play make and spread the floor as well. If it wasn't for him, this game could have gotten out of hand, especially missing two of our starters, Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam. Fred was much needed out there. It looked like he was trying to carry the weight in terms of playmaking, especially with Malachi coming off the bench, not being able to do a lot. TD as well, struggling and being pulled off. So it looked like he was essential out there. Ending with 21, 5, 4, 3 steals and a block, 6 for 15 shooting. Great game for him on both ends, man. 3 steals. He had incredible defense on Brogdon in that final play of the game, forcing a shot clock violation. And he didn't shoot the best percentage this game, but I thought he just made very timely baskets. That fourth quarter, he made a couple big shots and free throws. He hit the clutch free throws at the end to ice the game. I think for him, it was just a solid performance as usual. And the defense I thought was just spectacular, especially that final play, man, that really saved us. And he just proved to be very clutch. OG Anunoby, he had a hell of a performance, getting a season high 30 points. He had 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 steals and a block on 9 for 16 shooting. He had 4 3-balls on the night. Absolutely incredible, shooting the 3 very efficiently. He drove to the rack, hit a big 3 in the last 2 minutes and some big free throws in the final minutes. Defense all game was fantastic. Obviously, he had 4 steals, I believe, in the first half and then picked up another one, so 5 steals. Crazy, absolutely crazy. He had a lot of effort, created his own offense, hitting open shots. I think overall it was just an absolute fantastic performance. Didn't shy away from taking the free throws at the end as well, calling for the ball, and overall just carried a lot of the offensive load here tonight. Definitely him hitting his shots was very valuable to our team this game and our success. Aaron Baines, you know what? This game was actually quite an impressive game from him. He had 12 points, 7 boards, an assist and a block on the night on 5 for 9, shooting in 19 minutes of play. I thought much better performance. When he looked like he was kind of playing angry, he drawing some charges, 2 for 2 from 3. That's something that we kind of are iffy about whether he can hit the 3 or not, but he did a good job this game. And he was being aggressive. He would pump fake the 3 after and drive to the rack, looking like more of a threat out there. Still needs to make some of the better decisions in terms of those like pump fakes and drives, finding the right man to pass it to or going up. But I have seen improvement in his confidence. His scoring ability has improved a little bit from scoring nothing to at least getting double digits now and doing a better job defensively against Turner. I think this series we kind of seen Boucher hasn't done the best in terms of guarding Turner specifically, but has done better on the guards. And I think Baines did a good job on Turner per se, keeping him kind of calmed down a little bit. Moving on to the next guy, Norman Powell here. He had a fantastic game as well. His 3-ball looked very solid. He ended with 20 points, 2 boards, 6 assists on 7 for 18 shooting by the end of the night. He missed a bunch of shots, obviously. It was kind of on and off his game, but he worked really hard to create his own offense and held a huge scoring load for this team, especially with Pascal and Kyle out. And he had a huge poster on Miles Turner, by the way. It was very impressive. Overall, I think just a solid game from him. And glad he was able to contribute on this starting lineup. I think that's pretty much it for him. Moving on, Stanley Johnson for a start, like you said, and he did decent to hold his own. He ended with 3 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, a steal and a block on 1 for 6 shooting. Shooting wise and scoring wise, he struggled. He looked like he was a little uncomfortable out there, but defense he did well as usual, and most importantly, huge block at the end of the game against Domantas Sabonis, and which appeared to be, an easy putback for him after Boucher got a tip on it. The first attempt, Sabonis looked like he had an easy putback, but Johnson came right in and stuffed him and then started flexing right after, which got me and Adam hyped that it was a good ending, and we went the other way and ended up closing the game out, so it was a huge play from him. So shout out to Stanley for that. And for viewing our story. Thank you, Stanley. And Chris Boucher, now that I'm talking about it, he had a solid night as well. 12, 7, and 1 on 5 for 12 shooting, 2 blocks for the night, keeping up his average. And one of them was the biggest play of the game possibly. On the first attempt, he was kind of a little out of position in terms of where Sabonis was playing help defense. And then when Sabonis put it up, he came in and literally just off his fingertips just got a hand in there on maximum extension. His length came in handy and it saved us and helped us close out the game. So that was a huge play from him. And it was definitely a tough position to get to. So I'm impressed that he got that block. And he was a much needed paint presence at times, but because their guards were getting easy inside looks. But I think he just had an average game overall. Watanabe, I think that as usual, I love his defense, man. He's absolutely insane in terms of energy, but his offense was very poor this game. He had a 3-pointer, I think in the first half, and his energy was clearly infectious. He was hyped up after every stop. He had 2 nice blocks and a steal in that first half along with 2 rebounds, and getting offensive foul calls on Turner and other guys. He was getting hyped up and the team was loving it, and it kind of brought some energy to this team in the second quarter. So I love to see that from him. And Nick Nurse actually put him in the 5 position for a bit of the game, which was surprising. But the offense needs to improve. He did take some tough shots in the night, but 1 for 7 is not going to cut it to get credible minutes on time and time again. Terrence Davis, he played 2 minutes, had a crappy performance, turning the ball over, making mistakes, like we kind of said. Our stats kind of register as 1 turnover, but I'm pretty sure he had 2, and he didn't play after that. So we'll leave it at that. Malachi Flynn, 5 minutes, had 2 points, an assist, and a steal in the first half, and he struggled to make a real impact, not doing a good job playmaking or creating for his team, and didn't have much of an impact after the first half. Bembry, he had I would say, a solid game, playing a lot more minutes than he usually does, which is not something we're used to seeing. He played 20 minutes tonight, 4 points, 3 boards, 3 assists on 2 for 3 shooting. And the one shot he did miss was a 3 attempt that looked on target, just a little short in terms of power. But, I think he still had a good role this game, and he was really energetic, I think. He got a big rebound on one of the plays, I believe it was the fourth quarter, and I think he just made the right passes and just a lot of energy in general. When he was on, somehow we just did a really good job. I think that if he can turn into kind of Stanley Johnson's offensive role where you just make timely baskets, we're not asking you to hit the 3-ball insane or score a bunch of points, but if you're playing good defense, you're being a great playmaker in the point guard position, and you can make the odd 3-ball, the odd basket, then you can have some type of use off of the bench. But we do have a couple players that are struggling off the bench in terms of scoring-wise, or like Stanley Johnson, Watanabe, and Bembry, so we're going to have to need some type of improvement there because we can't just rely on our starters. But that's pretty much it for the team. Player of the game obviously goes to OG for an incredible performance. And the other team quickly, Miles Turner, 25 points on the night, 8 for 12 shooting, 3 steals, 6 blocks. The guy is a block machine. He was a huge threat, especially that 3-ball, 4 for 7 from 3. Brogdon went 12, 5, and 5, 5 for 22 shooting. He had a rough night scoring the ball, 1 for 10 from 3. And Domantas Sabonis, 10 points, 19 boards, but he shot 1 for 10, so we did a good job of shutting them down. Adam, what are your opinions on the player performances?
For player performances, I still would, obviously with the Raptors, I would give it to OG for sure with that 30-point night. And for the Pacers, I think I would have to give it to Turner. He was just such an impact player in this game. Even though they lost, he still got 3 steals and 6 blocks. And I also wanted to bring up one quick point, moving back to the Raptors rotation. Nurse, he just really needs to have these guys with Flynn, Davis, Bembry, Watanabe come in with energy. That's all he's looking for. He wants them to play good at the defensive end. Offensively, just like Stanley, Nurse is more lenient when you are playing better defensively and maybe not so offensively. And I think he just has a longer leash when you're playing good defensively. So it's all about, I think, work ethic, and sees you're ready to play, and you make an impact to the game, whether it be your energy or your defense, right? So as long as you're making an impact, that's all that really matters. So moving on to this Raptors versus Pacers game 2. Yet again in this one, the Raptors split the doubleheader with 1 game apiece, losing 129 to 114. I'm going to start in this game with how horrible our defense was by giving up 70 points in the first half and letting the Pacers get whatever they want really on the offensive end. We did such a good job on Brogdon and the Pacers bench really throughout the first game by frustrating them and being very physical, making them take tough shots. I thought we did a great job of bringing physicality, but this reffing crew just didn't know how to officiate. Or maybe they just had a preset winner before the game. They gave the Pacers 45 free throws, which is disgusting, and they only gave us 27, and for the most part, the same plays would be made on both ends, and one would be called and one wouldn't. I have two pet peeves with officials really for the officiating. I mean, my first one is the refs have to be consistent, so there's a mutual agreement on what gets called and what isn't, alright? My second one is calling makeup calls, because you maybe missed a call in the previous play, and then you call something that isn't a foul. Instead of making one error, now you're making two. These are issues that have been happening for a long time with reffing, and but those two things really just bother me. It's just stupidity by the referees, and you gotta call it one way, call it both ways. I don't get it. And the makeup calls, I don't understand why that's a thing. Just because you made a bad call on one end doesn't mean you have to make another bad one. That makes it even worse. You're making two bad calls. Like, I just don't get it. It's just stupidity from the referee crew, and once again, I still haven't seen a lot of these guys that are refereeing the Raptors games. Kane Fitzgerald, I think, was the one guy I knew, but other than that, like, these refs, I have no clue who they are. Lowry got ejected in the late stages of the fourth, as Nurse almost got himself ejected. He was screaming at the ref to end the game. Do you have any problem, Gabe, with Nurse having a bit of a temper when the officials do make a bad call?
It's good to see some passion out of our team and see that the coach cares and he wants the calls to be, called correctly. So I like to see that. Obviously, there's a time and a place, and like it's frustrating, at least in my opinion, when I see we're down already, down by like 4 or 5. We already missed a shot. They've scored. We're in a bad transition. Maybe it's an and one play, and we're really letting the game slip out of our hands, and we just let the frustration kick in, and we just get ourselves a technical, and now we're losing by even more. It depends how close the game is, in my opinion, because I don't want it to be costly, but, I at least like seeing that there is some type of desire to get things organized and get these refs to wake up if they're making wrong calls. But, sometimes it is costly.
Yeah, it's a game of runs, the game of basketball, and a foul can make a 4-point play, make a big run, extend a run. Like, there's just so many things that the momentum breaks. There's so many factors that go into that call that can change a game, right? So that's why refereeing is such an important thing to the game, and it needs to be done fairly, man. Raptors throughout the first 3 quarters gave a decent performance. Fourth quarter, they lose 31-17. It's like they had no more mustard left to squirt. I don't get it. I don't get what happened. The juice levels just dropped. The shot selection was terrible, and a Raptors team, they shot a lot of threes, in average, every game actually, and that really has to stop. I feel Nurse spoke about it post-game. After you take a rush shot or bad shot, you need to kind of regroup and string together a bunch of good possessions. And that really just didn't happen for the Raptors. Going into some match facts, the Raptors shot 41% from the field and 37% from 3, while the Pacers shot 51% from the field and 41% from 3. I might have to stop mentioning the rebounding, because we lost 45-39 on the glass again, because it seems like we're losing rebounds every game here. The Pacers also had 27 points off of our turnovers, and we just didn't handle the ball well tonight. Too many early turnovers that led to the fast break, really, for the Indiana Pacers. And I have a couple questions here, Gabe, to finish this one off. Should Watanabe already have an increased role in our rotation?
We saw a little bit more of him because Pascal had to sit, and that kind of gave us more minutes to play him. I think in terms of energy, he's absolutely fantastic. The only questionable thing for me is obviously that offensive ability. I just want him to be more consistent, but I obviously he's one of my favorite players this season, and I love seeing him play. I think he makes impactful play after impactful play in terms of defense, energy, rebounding. I just hope that he can get that offense up. In terms of minutes, I think that he is due to get some minute bumps, especially because we have a lot of guards and the need for bigger players is definitely demanding. He did play 15 minutes this game. I think I'd like to see him at around 18-20 minutes consistently.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think, Watanabe should be increased because his play, and he's just ready for the game. He looks like he's like a real professional. He's ready for the game. Some players come into the game that don't look ready to go. I'm just going to be straight out honest. They're just not ready to go. And this guy's just the embodiment of a player ready to go, waiting for his opportunity, and he takes it with a lot of stride, right? So Next question would be, why isn't Matt Thomas playing? Like, this one is just strange. Like, Nurse, I don't know what it is. He has just this stubbornness about playing certain guys, and I don't know if he has, like, things in his head that he's looking for at certain times, but why isn't Matt Thomas not playing?
Well, we understand, we've kind of gone over this, that his defense he's a defensive liability, at least, when he's on the floor. So we understand that portion of it, but there's a certain type of scenario in game where there's a certain moment where you kind of need a player like him in. In this game where we were struggling on offense maybe for part of the game, or we kind of just need to cut down their lead and we need some big buckets, you have to put someone like him in where he can hit a bunch of shots, and especially where you have a guy like Terrence Davis who hasn't been giving you what you want, who's playing the 2-guard position, and you still have another playmaker on the floor. Lowry was back this game. It's not like we needed Malachi or Fred on the floor at all times. We had another playmaker. So when you have the playmakers and the other 2 guards are playing bad, someone like him should be okay to put in. And the problem is Nick Nurse only gives him the 50 second, when there's a timeout, there's 50 seconds left, and then it's the end of the quarter. So I understand like the timing when he's putting him in, but it's too little of a time gap to make any type of impact. And for him, if he's making those shots, you should just bite the bullet, I think, especially when you're losing a game and you need to cut down a lead and make a bunch of threes or something to cut it down. Try putting someone like him in. I don't know what it is with his rotations, Nick Nurse, but I haven't been liking it this season in terms of finding an opportunity to play someone like Matt Thomas or Aaron Baines when he does step up, not giving him the appropriate minutes that he should be playing in the fourth quarter. Some of the things like that are kind of bothering me. So now I got to go over the player performances as usual. Maybe I should start with Indiana to make it a little bit lighter. Malcolm Brogdon, he absolutely exploded. So we did a good job of containing him, like you said, Adam. But this game, the opposite. 36 points, 7 boards, 9 assists, 10 for 17 shooting, 3 3-balls, and a steal. Absolutely had whatever he wanted this game. He drove to the rack with confidence. He shot the 3-ball well, even took some tough shots, but made them. Passing was fantastic. We had the exact polar opposite night. He had the exact polar opposite night, I should say, in terms of shooting the ball. Even Sabonis started off a little bit of the opposite as well. He started off strong, and we thought it was going to be a problem, but he did end up getting injured and left. But he put up 11 points in 10 minutes, had 3 boards, 2 assists. Turner, exact same night, I would say. 21 points, 9 boards, 5 for 9 shooting. Went to the free throw line for 16 attempts. Brogdon, by the way, 14 attempts. And,
yeah, that's not normal. That is not normal. Just to let you know, that is horrible.
That's a lot of numbers, man. That's very high. And 3 blocks as usual, keeping up his average. He is a good shot blocker. And the other problem tonight was Jeremy Lamb. He had 22 points, 7 boards, 2 assists off the bench, playing a 6-man role, I would say. 32 minutes of play, 7 for 12 shooting, 3 3-balls, and a steal. He kind of just came in confident and cocky, and he was hitting 3-balls and showboating a little bit, and he was a problem for us. We couldn't really stop him. So
yeah, Gabe, he looked high out there. Like he looked like we were losing a game to a guy that was high. Like he just didn't look like he was engaged in the game. He was just like streaking up the court like nonchalantly. He would come up, make a 3 in our zone, and it's like we were sleeping on him. I don't get it. You see a guy make a couple 3s in a row, you got to beware in the third possession to guard him extra tighter or be aware that he's on the floor. And like we just didn't do that.
Yeah, and in terms of Raptors, I'm going to start with the person that I have the biggest problem with tonight. Similar to the Miami game, we have Kyle Lowry, our leader, our captain, our so-called one of our clutch players, I should say, to end the fourth quarters. He had an absolutely atrocious performance, 2 for 11 shooting on the night, 1 for 5 from 3. He had 12 points, 2 boards, and assists, 2 turnovers, 5 personal fouls, and was later ejected off a technical. Kyle, once again, an absolute horrific performance. Nothing frustrates me more than seeing him play this crappy, because I know he has potential to do good, and he's usually consistently decent. But I don't know what is happening with him that he cannot find his shot. He cannot shoot anything. He's turning the ball over at an inefficient rate. He's making bad play after bad play. Him being on the floor is useless. I saw plays in this game where he wasn't guarding anyone on a transition and was not boxing out the other guys. He just watched a shot go up, stood there, and watched it go back to the other team and did absolutely nothing. When he was on the floor, we played absolutely horrible, and he shouldn't have, I don't know if I should blame it on Nurse or him, But Nurse does the same thing with Pascal. When a player is playing this horribly and him on the floor, whenever he's on the floor, we're losing the game, you got to take him off. Simple as that. So I don't understand why when he was on the floor, we just kept letting the game go on. He came back on in the fourth. He didn't play a bit of it. Bembry was in instead of him, but then he ended up closing, I think, the last 3 or 4 minutes. I didn't even want to see him on the floor because whenever he was on there, he was atrocious and he wasn't a threat. If you're not a scoring threat, you're not making a shot, what's your use out there? All he's doing is getting to line, making free throws or complaining to the refs. It was mind-boggling. And then at that point, like I said, when I get frustrated is when we're already losing by so much. We're missing shots. They're scoring shots. And then you want to complain to the ref and run your mouth and then get a technical foul, which results in a free throw, and then get yourself ejected, showing your team that, I don't know, is it that you're mad at the refs, that you care about the team, or are you just going out there, you already had a shit performance, you're letting out your anger, and you're getting tossed to let your team fall on its own, let them crumble under the dust without their leader, their captain? I think it was just a horrible performance. I did not like watching him at all this game. Very disappointed in him.
Yeah, I thought that Nurse just searched way too long. Like you said, Gabe, for an answer from Lowry, and he should have just pulled him right off when he wasn't playing good. Give the other guys who have been struggling an opportunity. And I thought Nurse just waited way too long, and as a result, you lose the game because of it.
Yeah, 4 points at half by our starting point guard, who's supposed to be averaging about 20 a game. 4 points at half. It's never going to end well like that. I should move on to other guys. Aaron Baines, 9 points, 2 boards, 14 minutes, 4 for 9 shooting. Another decent game from Baines. I did not think he did that bad, but in Nick Nurse fashion, we did not see him back on. He attacked the basket pretty well, finding the right cuts. The 3-ball wasn't as consistent this game. He was 1 for 4 from 3, but I thought his defense was still above average, and we didn't see him in the fourth quarter, or much for the second half, I should say. Norman Powell, he had 24 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 8 for 19 shooting, and a steal. He was quite aggressive this game. He did a lot, I would say, in the first half especially, to drive the offense a little bit. And he shot pretty efficiently, nice strong drives. We definitely could see more from him in terms of efficiency, but he did put up good numbers that we needed in terms of helping the offensive load, and basically 40 minutes this game is a lot from him. OG Anunoby, 10 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3. The struggle this game, I think, was the fouls. He had to sit out near the beginning for 2 quick personal fouls and kind of got a little cold. Didn't show up too much after that. Didn't play the most amount of minutes. Fred VanVleet, 25 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals and a block, 11 for 21 shooting. He had the best performance on the night, was the only person that, besides Norm, that really looked like he cared about this game and tried willing the team back. He was making his shots when they mattered. Someone that you can consistently count on, that when he was wide open, he'd make it. Lowry takes some lessons here. Drove really strong to the basket, hit some middies, getting buckets in general. Tough buzzer beater at the end of the second quarter as well. He had a great performance. Thank you, Fred, for showing the effort here tonight. Chris Boucher, 9 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, a steal and 2 blocks. 29 minutes of play, I should say. 3 for 12 shooting. Nick Nurse decided to go with him late game, and he did get some decent blocks in terms of the guard play, but he could not find an answer to Miles Turner. And on the offensive end, he was absolutely atrocious. This is by far the worst we've seen him, I think. He had before a streak where he would make everything he put up was going in. It could have been a tap in, it could have been a putback, it could have been a 3, could have been shooting over a defender, an and 1. Now it's like he can't make anything. 3 for 12 this game, 1 for 6 from 3. Obviously the 3-ball's been mostly consistent. This has been his one rough game, but I noticed, I think, a lot more putbacks that miss and easy tap-ins.
Yeah, I think also with the Turner situation, I think we were just avoiding the paint almost too much. I noticed Norm was getting to the paint a lot, which he did a great job, and he wasn't scared of Turner. But the guy's a great shot blocker, but you don't have to be scared to enter the paint because of that, right? He can alter your shot a bit, but you can still make layups. You can still find ways to score on the inside. Just because he's there doesn't mean you have to shy away from it, you know?
You have to just find the angles and the space there. That's what Fred was masterful at. Lowry, meanwhile, would go in, bump somebody, and then throw the ball in the air, and it went nowhere. Didn't even get near the net. Stanley Johnson, 25 minutes of play, 4 points, 4 boards, 6 assists, only missed 1 shot. His 4 points were off of free throws. He had 2 steals and a block, 5 personal fouls. They really were just attacking Stanley and OG a lot. This game, they kind of said, let's attack OG, get him fouls at the start, get him out of there, because he was extremely hot the first game. And then Stanley had to play a lot more minutes. And I just didn't do that much. He was obviously rebounding well, and defensively he was at times good. At times he did have some bad plays on Brogdon off some switches. He couldn't keep up. But, this is kind of what we expect from him, so I don't want to go too much into that. Watanabe, 15 minutes of play, 9 points, 5 boards, 2 for 6 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, a steal, and 4 free throws. Once again, I think the effort here is key. The numbers don't say it all. Obviously, he didn't shoot the best percentage, but what you have to notice is on the floor, the defensive plays he makes, staying in front of his defender, the energy he brings by jumping, running full speed to go to close out a defender, jump at him, and then run full speed all the way up the court to do a little tap play to Fred VanVleet and get an easy bucket. Like, plays like that are just extremely hustle based, and he said it coming out of, in the post game interviews, like how tired he was, because he really just, in the time he gets, he just runs. He's a motor, man. He doesn't stop. And I think that, his defensive stats show it sometimes with his steals, and obviously rebounding and scoring wise, he was a little more aggressive this game getting to the rack, which I liked. Everyone else didn't play that many minutes. Davis with 6, Bembry 5, Watson 4, and Thomas with 2. They all had to touch the floor for a bit. Watson and Thomas both made a 3-pointer in their little bit minutes of play. Bembry each had 2 points and 2 boards, and TD hit 1 3-ball in the night and the steal. That's pretty much it.
TD, man, his shift is getting cut so short because of those turnovers. He's coming in. He came in, I think it was the first minute he came in, and I just turned it over right away. Just got the ball, made a bad pass, interception the other way, and Indiana was on the fast break. So he's got to come into the game. I know he's ready. I think he's just over anxious to make a good play. I think he just has to take what the defense is giving him, and just, you don't have to score the ball. If you have it open, if you have an open shot, shoot it. But if you don't have to make a big, huge impact play every time. Like, maybe that's not his thing. It looks like he's just trying way too hard on certain plays.
Yeah. I just want to kind of just close out by saying overall, I'm just extremely disappointed in the team this game. Our defense was absolutely horrendous in the first half, and then the fourth quarter, I don't know what happened to our team. We brought it back near the end of the third, and then we just collapsed. I'm putting part of the blame on our star player, Kyle Lowry, for not contributing nearly as much as he should be. Nick Nurse as well, lack of rotations, not putting Aaron Baines in, maybe not giving Matt Thomas a chance, maybe keeping Boucher on too long in the offensive end for his lack of contributions. I think that's my stance on it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for that.
All right, as always, we hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe. Like I said in the beginning, check us out on Instagram at Rapzville. And hopefully we can turn this one around. On to the next. We have Milwaukee coming up, and that's going to be a tough one. So we'll see how our team does defensively and offensively. And, we hope you enjoyed. That's us signing out.
Deuces.
Peace.